Hello. I think we're good. So today I'm going to be finishing up my Kitsune that I started last time. I'm sorry, I don't know why I got so congested all of a sudden. Oh, sorry about that. So I'm going to be finishing up the Kitsune that I started last week. And I did find, I was looking for stories to read while we do this. I did find a translation of one of I think it's called a Kyogen play, about a fox that disguises himself as a priest to talk to a hunter. It reminded me a lot of Grimm's fairy tales, to be honest. It reminded me a lot of Grimm's fairy tale stories I've read. So I'm going to try to read parts of that. I will kind of have to start and stop because I'm reading and painting at the same time. But yeah, we're going to read through that today and then finish up our little Kitsune statue. As soon as my voice decides to come back and sound normal. No, I can't vouch for like the accuracy of the translation, but I'm hoping it's decent. It was one of the few that I could find. Because most of I usually start, I'll start with a Wikipedia page, then I'll go to the reference spot under the Wikipedia page and start reading through the references that they have, the reference material. But when you're doing folklore from another country, a lot of that reference material is in another language. And I am what I call tourist baby in Japanese. I only know some basic phrases and words and things, so ain't no way I could possibly translate something myself. With the Spanish stuff, I can do a little better, but not with this. So we're going to hope that the translation is decent. If you know better resources, by all means link them or let me know where they are. Because I do like to read stuff and I like to be decently accurate. But this is a play. Apparently there are different versions, because even just on the wiki page, exactly what happens in the story seems to vary a bit. So I'm assuming, much like fairy tales and other things, there's multiple versions, multiple adaptations. We're just going to read this particular one, and it is set up like a play. So it's going to be written with stage directions, that kind of thing. Whoever's speaking, their names instead of being written descriptively. Alright, I don't know why I have suddenly gotten congested and lost my voice. That has been happening off and on for the past week. But I'm not sick, so I don't know what's going on. Alright. So the beginning of this starts with the fox singing. All farewells are over now for this ancient fox. All farewells are over now for this ancient fox. Now I am left alone with sad tears of regret. Speaking, I am an ancient fox of more than 100 years, and I reside in this neighborhood. There is a man nearby who began trapping foxes some time ago, and became so fond of trapping us that he succeeded in trapping all my family, friends, and relatives. And now he is after me as well. But as I constantly exercise the greatest of care in all I do, I have thus far escaped unscathed. Now this man has an uncle, a priest named Hakuzosu, and he follows his uncle's advice on everything. Thus I have decided to disguise myself as his uncle Hakuzosu and advise him to give up trapping. It is for this reason that I have disguised myself in this manner. He reaches the edge of the pond and spends some time looking at his reflection in the surface of the water from every possible angle to make sure that his disguise is complete. I must hurry on my way to make it to his dwelling, singing as he goes, from the home I love, from the old mound where I live, I venture forth. From the old mound where I live, I venture forth, allowing my feet to lead me wherever they will. Thus do I find myself at the hunter's dwelling. Traveling with much urgency, now I find myself here at his dwelling place. Everybody has some good points, and this hunter's is that he keeps no dogs. It is for this reason that I am able to visit him without undue fear, suddenly pricking up his ears. But in spite of the fact that he does not keep dogs, I hear one barking now. No, it seems the dog is not nearby. First I will announce myself. Hello, is anyone home? So I did see a thing which I didn't know. Apparently foxes are scared of dogs. I was not aware of that, but I guess that does make sense if, I Americans, we've all seen The Fox and the Hound. So I guess I should have known that. But I never really occurred. But that's something when I was reading the Kitsune lore, that there was a lot of references to the Kitsunes being scared of dogs. So he's at the door and he introduces himself. Hello in there. Is anybody home? Hunter. Someone is at the door. Who is there? Oh, Hakuzetsu. Since it is you, there was no reason for you to call it at the door. You should have come right on in, but what brings you here? It's such a late hour. Oh, it is just that, and just that. Today I've come for a special reason, and that is why I called out at the door. Hunter. Just what sort of thing might it be? Fox. I have heard that you trap foxes. Is this true? Hunter. You ask of me a thing of which I know nothing. I have never trapped a fox in my life. Fox. No, you must not hide it. Everybody who comes to visit the temple says to me, are you not aware that your nephew is an incessant trapper of foxes? Why do you not advise him against it? So do not hide it. Just tell me the truth. Hunter. So is it true that you have heard such a thing? Fox. I have indeed heard such a thing. As you know already, there is no way I can hide it from you. Once I happened to trap a fox, and then, since then, I found it so entertaining that I trapped a second, a third, a fourth, and finally, a fifth fox. Fox. There you see, there is not the slightest falsehood in what people have told me. And what do you do with the foxes that you have trapped? Hunter. I do nothing specially worth the telling. First, I skin them and make leather loincloths. Fox. Oi! Beginning to tremble and continuing with increasing violence during the ensuing explanation. Hunter. I cook their flesh, and I eat it. I char their bones, and I sell them as healing plasters. Fox. Just hearing you speak of all this makes me tremble. The thing known as a fox frightfully forms tenacious attachments. Also, the practice of killing is so very sinful that the Buddha has placed it first among the 5 admonitions. Thus be surely assured that you must abandon trapping entirely. Hunter. I just went on trapping, entirely ignorant of such matters. From this moment forward, I will abandon trapping. Fox. What's that? You say you will abandon trapping? Hunter. That I will. If that is the case, I know an ancient tale about the frightfully tenacious attachments of the fox. I will tell it to you, but if you perchance you do not intend to truly abandon trapping, there is no use in telling it to you. Hunter. By all means, I have indeed made up my mind to abandon trapping entirely. Thus do I indeed beg you to tell me your ancient story. Fox. If that is the case, as I have traveled far today, first give me a stool to sit on. Hunter. As you say, sir. He fetches the stool. Here is your stool. Fox. He sits on the stool. I will tell you the tale now, and you must listen well. Hunter. As you say, sir. Fox. Chanting. Long, long ago, the thing known as a fox was a deity. In far-off India, it was known as the Prince of the Distant Seas. In China, as the Prince of February. In Japan, as the great and gracious deity of the 5 Inari shrines. All these are foxes. Hunter. Fox. There is a tale of an imperial lady-in-waiting named Lady Tamamo. Her grace and beauty were so great that they shone forth from all 4 corners in 8 directions. It was because she was so thoroughly beautiful as a jewel that she was given the name Tamamo, that means algae jewel. She was also known as Lady Spectre, for in the 2nd year of the reign of Emperor Ichijo, after the imperial poem contest, during the ensuing orchestra concert, the great iso tempest sent violent winds sweeping through the palace, extinguishing all the lights without exception. Oh, I lost my place. At that instant, Lady Tamamo was sent golden rays of light out from her body, illuminating the entire jeweled palace. After witnessing this phenomenon, Emperor Ichijo insisted that Lady Tamamo was not a human being, but a spectre in disguise. So he called her Lady Spectre ever after. Not long after this, the emperor fell ill. The imperial diviner, Abe no Yasurinari, came forth to scatter his divining... I think that's supposed to be divining sticks. It says diving sticks. I think it's supposed to be divining sticks. to scatter forth his divining sticks, named 1 virtue, 6 evils, 2 duties, 3 lives, and 8 difficulties. He drew out the one called 6 evils, and divined that it was all the work of Lady Tamamo, that the emperor was ill. He went on to explain that Lady Tamamo was in actual fact a fox, who had already, during the Chou dynasty in China, disguised herself as Emperor Yu's consort, Empress Baoxi, in which form she took the lives of as many as 7 emperors. Now she had come to Japan and was going to take the life of the Emperor Ichijo. He warned that such a serious situation could not be resolved satisfactorily without the help of some prayers. Thus, he brought together all the priests. Sorry, I'm trying so hard to paint and read at the same time. This is challenging. He brought together all the priests. Where am I? There we go. Of fame and rank, and had them all offer prayers all the prayers that they knew, but all in vain. Then it was decided that the altars of the 4 and 5 tiers should be decorated, and the incantation of the Yakushi, I don't know if that's Yakushi or Yakushi Buddha should be made. At the instant that the incantation was intoned, the fox found it quite impossible to remain any longer. It fled to the Nasu plain in the land of Shimotsuke. Word of this spread throughout the land, and all agreed that the matter must not be neglected as it was. Thus, as the dog has an appearance similar to the fox, a dog hunt was ordered to conquer the fox. 2 men named Suke, one of Miura and the other one of Kazusa, were commissioned to take charge, and they both accepted the challenge. They went forth with all their vassals and retainers and attendants for a 100-day dog hunt. And on the 100th day, a fox appeared that measured 7 fathoms from tail to head. Suke of Miura shot the first arrow, and Suke of Kazusa the second, both hitting squarely on the mark. Raising their voices in the shout of victory, they leaped off their horses, drew their swords, and finished off the fox. As soon as their deed was reported to the emperor, his malady was instantly cured. Order was restored to the land, and the reign of peace ensued. But the tenacious attachment to the fox remained. It congealed itself into the giant rock and took the lives of countless people, even casting dead to the ground wild beasts that ran by, and the birds that flew over it. Thus its deadly fame spread far and wide, and it became known as the Killing Stone. Then came a priest named Gino. He faced the rock and spoke to it, pleading, "You spirit that inhabit the stone known as the Killing Stone, go back now from whence you came." So saying, Gino struck the rock 3 times with his staff, and it split right down the middle. But even so, the tenacious attachment of the fox remained within it, and continued to take people's lives. This is how frightful the tenacious attachment of the fox is. Thus, from this day forward, you must indeed make up your mind to abandon fox trapping entirely. I gotta get the back of the hand for a second. Give me a moment. We'll continue the story. When I was reading through this, just from the wiki page, I did see a couple of these stories mentioned. But like I said, this particular one, I saw there was apparently some variation on the version. So I'm just going with the play version that I found a translation of. But I think other things may happen in some of the other stories. Potentially. All right. Hunter, I say, what a frightful tale you have told me. Up to this time, I went about blindly trapping foxes, entirely ignorant of the frightfully tenacious attachment of which you speak, but the tale you have told me has moved me, and I determine from this moment that I will abandon trapping entirely. So, set your heart at ease. Fox, you say you will abandon trapping entirely? Hunter, yes. If that is the case, then you have a thing which foxes are trapped in called a trap. You must throw it away too. Hunter, I will throw it away after you leave for home. Fox, even though you claim you will, I am certain when you look at your trapping tools and desire to trap foxes once more, the desire to trap foxes will once more well up within you. Thus I say, if you truly mean to give up trapping, I admonish you to throw it away in front of my very eyes. Hunter, as you say, sir. Fetching the trap, he suddenly thrusts it in the face of the fox. Here it is. Fox, oh, it smells bloody. It smells of blood. What do you mean, thrusting such a bloody-smelling thing under the nose of the priest? Throw it away quickly. Hunter, throw it away quickly. Hunter, as you say, sir. He throws it on the ground. There, I have thrown it away. Fox, what's that? You've thrown it away. That I have. Oh, how happy I am. I'm very satisfied that you have complied with what I have said. I would very much like to go inside and see your children too, but today is inauspicious, and I will come again and see them another day. And you must come visit me at the temple too. If you come to see me, though, as I am but a poor priest, I have nothing special to serve you. But I will give you a bit of sea tangled flavored with a little pepper and a cup of fine tea. Hunter, for that I would be most grateful. As I am but a poor priest, I have nothing special to serve you, but will give you a bit of sea tangled flavored with pepper. Hunter, and a cup of tea. Hunter, thank you so much for coming. Fox, and you must come visit me at the temple too, and if you come to see me as though I am a poor priest, I have nothing special to serve you. I am a little confused as to why he keeps repeating this line. He sets out, and the hunter watches him go for a time, and then he leaves the scene. Sea tangled flavor with pepper and a cup of tea. Sea tangled flavor with... Now at a safe distance from the hunter's place, the fox relaxes a bit. Oh, how happy I am. I completely succeeded in making him abandon trapping entirely. From this time forth, no matter what land or what direction I may visit, there is no need for me to worry in the very least. As such, I have a great peaceful heart. I will sing about it as I make my way back to the ancient mound home. Fox, singing. If I were to reside in this village, it would be a great scandal. So off now I go, back to my ancient mound home, so lively, so gracefully. He bumps into the trap that now lies in the middle of the road where the hunter threw it away. Oh, how frightful, how very frightful. When he said he threw his trap away, I thought he'd thrown it far away, but he threw it in the very road that leads to my home. How deep is the doubt in the heart of the hunter? There's some sort of black thing on it. I've never had to look at what this thing is that they call a trap. Today is such a happy day that I think I'll just go near and look at the trap. Hey, you little black thing, poking at the bait on the trap with his cane. So it is you that have trapped all my friends and relatives, huh? Beating on the bait with the trap repeatedly. Hey, bringing the lower end of his cane to his nose and sniffing. Oh, it is no wonder that all the young ones got themselves trapped, for that hunter baits his traps with the very best quality of fried young mice. Or fried young rats, sorry. How can I leave this rat uneaten? I will leap down on it with a single bite. He goes forward to the trap once more, but stops just before he leaps. Oh, no, why would I let myself get trapped when I see what has already trapped so many before me? Oops, why is my... Oh, sorry, my computer's making noises. Okay. Why would I let myself get trapped when I can see that this is what has trapped already so many before me? I must leave this place. I will go straight back to my ancient mound. He moves quickly away, but stops suddenly and sniffs the air again. I really think I should leave this place, but it seems I cannot make myself leave after smelling that fragrance. Also, now I think of it, the bait itself is the enemy of all my friends and relatives, and the young ones got themselves caught because they didn't know that they should simply snatch off the bait and eat it. To eat the bait itself, all one must do is leap on it. Going toward the bait, he suddenly feels the weight of his disguise and draws back. Sure, that would be easy, but dressed in robes that are as heavy as pond scum, I am so weighted down I could not possibly leap onto the bait. Oh, how I want to eat it. Going toward the trap once more, he strikes the bait with his cane again. Hey, you rascal, I will take revenge on you for all my friends and relatives as soon as I get out of these heavy ropes. I will come right back, grab, and eat you. Prepare your heart for that, and stay right where you are. Beating the bait several more times, a bloody smell, turns away from the trap, and raises the skirt of his robe to reveal his tail and slowly starts to walk away. I can only serve tea, and moving quietly while barking like a fox. Well, the ears are still wet. I'm gonna wait for those to dry so I can paint those. All right. I'm gonna start, I wanted to make the robes blue, so I'm gonna start painting some of the blue on the robes, and we will continue. So the fox has wandered away, but he's coming back because the bait looks so yummy and he really wants to try it. Hunter, returning to the scene. My uncle Hakuzosu has just been to visit me. He said he'd heard about my trapping foxes and admonished me against it in far severer terms than is custom to use. He even made me throw away my trap, but it all seemed so very strange. I left it half set, but when I threw it away, but I think he would just go to see what state my trap is in now. Setting up. Truly, the whole thing was very strange. He's never before come visiting at twilight, nor is he one to speak with such persistence. And on top of all this, as I watched him go, he almost seemed to suddenly disappear into thin air. In any case, I cannot make this thing out. He arrives at the trap. Here, what is this? I'm picking up the trap and looking it over carefully. Oh, I see now. This does not look at all like this. My trap has been poked at and trampled upon. This does not at all look like the work of a man. It looks like what a fox would do. Oh, I do see now. The Hakuzosu who came to visit me was none other than the old fox that I had been hunting these many days. Well, I must say, how very, very vexing. I'm sure there was something strange about him. What a vexing thing this is. What shall I do now? Oh, I know. As he poked about the bait like this, I am sure he will come back for it. So I will set my trap with care and lie in wait for him, and trap that rascal before the night is out for sure. He sets the trap. The thing known as a fox is such a sly creature that one never knows what they will turn themselves into next, or when. He indeed was very well disguised. He was exactly like Hakuzoso in every way. No matter who one might show him to, there was most likely no one who would say it was not him. The more I think about it, the more vexed it makes me. If I had the slightest inkling of who that rascal was, that rascal was a fox, what need have I for a trap? I would have been able to catch him with my bare hands. How do I regret it now? In any case, I will set my trap with the greatest care and take him for sure this time. There were things that seemed most strange when he was here. And, let me scroll up. There were things that seemed most strange when he was here. And I thought to myself that I should grab and question him closely, but I was afraid of the consequences in case he truly was my uncle. So I decided to be discreet and let him go. But the more I think about it, the more that there has never been anything so maddening. He completes setting his trap. Let me take a break here. I want to do the edge here. Detail paint. Alright, well now I've set my trap quite well and it is ready for him. I'm sure that it will trap him this time. He checks the position of the trap, looking up and down the road. Truly, I will hide myself in the shade of a pine tree and wait for the old fox to come back. He crouches down, holding to the end of the rope attached to the trap. The fox comes back, but is himself, and darts here and there on all fours, stops to bark and howl from time to time, and to scratch his back. He finally gets up enough courage to grab the bait and jumps on the bait, immediately getting caught by the trap snare. The hunter jumps to his feet, tries to reel the fox in with the rope, lashing out at him with the bamboo whip. There, you're caught. It was good of you to come. You really had me deceived before. You deceived me then, but you will not slip through my fingers now. The fox struggles in vain and folds his paws and pleads for release. No matter how you plead, do you think I will let you go now? The fox succeeds in getting his head out of the snare, runs away, yelping in glee. The rebound makes the hunter fall over backwards. Oh, he got out of the snare and is running away, getting to his feet. Oh, how angry. Isn't there anybody about? Somebody catch that old fox for me. Chasing after the fox. I'll catch you yet. I'll catch you yet. I'll catch you yet. And it fades off. So as I read that particular play, because that is, I believe, the end. Yeah, it is. Okay. It reminded me so much of a bunch of Grimm's fairy tales with foxes. because, you know, the sly and wily fox is a very common trend in a lot of European folktales. So I find it interesting when I'm reading through some of the Kitsune lore that it's really reminding me of some similar tropes and things that you see in European lore with foxes. Also, I saw notes that apparently fried mice can actually be used as fox bait. I guess they like, I mean, yeah, I know they eat chickens. I've chased off some foxes from eating our chickens before, but I wasn't aware that they apparently really like mice too. But yeah, I thought this one was interesting because it kind of referenced Inari as well as the disguise, shape-shifting, and a lot of the like woodcuts and other images I'd seen about this particular tale. It had some similar things that I was drawing inspiration of when I did this sculpture. So I have the fox dressed in human clothing. So, but yeah, I thought it was a fun little story to read since we talked about the legends last time, and I wanted to read one. There were quite a few other stories, but as I said, most of those were in Japanese, and I wasn't able to find a easy to access translation. This one popped up, so hopefully it was decently accurate. There was like 2 typos in there, and I stumbled over my words, so that probably made it worse. But okay. I'm not sure why I decided the robe needed to be blue. I just kind of envisioned it as blue. I am debating about doing the red markings, but I kind of don't want to. Just because a lot of the older images, they don't. A lot of the older images, they aren't even white foxes, but in this one, this particular story, it was an old gray fox or an old white fox a couple times, so depends on the story. But I figured I like the white fox as the color choice for this particular sculpture. I would continue reading other stories. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to paint and read at the same time. So, one story, 'tis enough. Now, as always, I did go to the base coat before I started the video, and I always do that because some of my earliest recorded videos that I did, I noticed that watching myself spend an hour painting an entire figurine just a solid black or gray or brown was incredibly boring. So I decided to cut that part of the process. So I always paint the base coat usually about 30 minutes to an hour before I start the video, because that gives it time to dry a bit. And the main reason for needing a base coat is just that if I'm using now it's mostly if I'm using darker colors. If I'm using darker colors and I miss a spot or two, it's very obvious because this clay is a peachy color. So it looks very bad and very weird if there's a random pink spot, you know, amidst a blue or a darker brown or something like that. So I always try to eliminate that issue by painting a thick base coat, usually a darker version of whatever the main color is, or just black if I'm not sure. For the white, I did the base coat of gray because it's slightly darker than the white. So anything slightly darker, I usually go for the neutral colors or for monochrome. But if you know what colors you're doing, it can help to do it like if you're doing oops, I did not mean to get blue on the tail. Dang it. Not to touch that. I forgot what I was saying. Basically, you just want to do your base coat a much darker version. And you want to thoroughly coat everything so that all your little crevices and texture pieces will have the dark coat in the indentations. And then as you paint, and I like to dry brush over top, you can kind of use the lighter colors to highlight all of the details. It's a really easy way to achieve details without having to be, too precise with your painting. I use it when I do mini painting as well, and it usually works pretty well for what I do. So we're going to have to touch up the tail, and we need to do the other side up. So like I started with black, I'm doing the dark blue now, and we will gradually lighten up our blue color to create texture on this robe that we have. I think I will leave the belt black, maybe, and the undershirt I might do either a bright white or a green or something else. Maybe a little bit of a green to tie it into the leaf that we're going to put on the head. Now, this particular one doesn't mention how the fox transformed, but I talked last time about how they mentioned some of the other Asian legends, like the Chinese legends, and a few of the others mentioned specific rituals that the Kitsune would have to go through to transform. And some of those, or several of those, involved putting some sort of plant or leaf or reed on their head. So that's why there's a little leaf up here. Just to kind of, pay tribute to that and reference it. Because I try to, basically I read legends and I try to combine all of the basic concepts in one sculpture, in one idea. I don't always get to do that, but that's always what my goal is. Oop, there's another spot that I got blue on. Dang it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why my voice is a little bit husky tonight. I'm sorry about that. Usually it's not that bad. I think it's just because I haven't talked a whole lot to people today, so I think my voice is just a little rusty. I don't know if other people find that to be the case, but that happens a lot to me. If I haven't talked a whole lot, or I've only talked a little bit for a few minutes to somebody, then, which I did talk to someone today, but it can be a little hard for my voice to warm up a bit. Paint the seam very carefully, and I think I just got blue on the back of the arm. I did. Dang it. I need to be more careful. Okay. All right. Oh. No, I'm not sure what color the hood should be. I feel like it should maybe be a brownish color. Or at least a lighter color. The mask, we're definitely going to do a white base for that. So, get started on that. And then we can touch up the spots that I hit with the blue and touch up the fox as well. So add some more white to him. Okay, but we'll start with the mask and then we'll go back over all of the fox as well. I was looking at some of like the various Japanese face masks. Most of them are, or at least most of the ones I'd seen were like animals or certain, like, I think they're called yokai, certain mythological creatures and beings. But I did see some very humanoid masks, so I'm kind of going for some of those in the painting, at least, of it, to the best of my ability. It won't be perfect, but the main idea was I wanted to get across the idea of shape-shifting, even though I didn't put this particular fox in a fully human form. We gotta get our base coat of white. The white you have to do multiple layers of because it always looks kind of bad. Because you can see the brushstrokes on the first layer, and that always looks crappy. So it takes several layers to make it look okay. I did to get white on. Okay, let me see if I can eliminate the accidental blue. Okay. Now we really need to go heavy on the white. I may put this particular sculpture on a base, but I am undecided currently on that. Just because I didn't really take the time to do the base very well. The underside, at least, is kind of weird looking, so. I mean, you're not supposed to pick the statue up and look at the underside, but you can, and so it kind of bothers me. Some of mine look pretty bad on the underneath because I don't always sculpt them very carefully. If it's not visible, I tend to not think about it. Oh, dang it, I got on the shirt sleeves. Didn't mean to do that. I could do a little bit of the red, like, lining almost. Maybe around the eyes, but not too much, because I think a lot of the modern portrayals I've seen of kitsunes, they tend to do, like, all the red lines and designs, and I assume that's, like, the red from the Inari shrines, but it doesn't seem to be any particular reason other than it's pretty. So I wasn't sure of the accuracy of doing that. Most of the red seemed more like they have like the red bibs that mean something, and then I was a little unclear on what exactly they meant, but I'm assuming that from those and from some of the reddish designs on the shrines, it's where that red line design comes from, but I'm not positive. I do feel I'm always a little worried that I'm going to totally butcher a legend when I'm doing some of these, because I do my best to look things up, but sometimes it's hard to tell how accurate a source is. Like I said, I usually have the going to encyclopedias like Wikipedia and then going through the references that they list and then reading some of those, but sometimes they're not public domain, sometimes I can't read them. Sometimes they're in a different language, and that makes it harder. Much harder to be accurate. Just makes me realize I really need to learn more languages so that I can do stuff like that for myself. But, yeah. That is a long way in the making. Not going to be that fluent for quite some time. Okay. All right. I need to touch up the side of the face. Now I am going to probably make the nose black, I think, because I think most white foxes have a black nose. At least that's what is envisioned in my brain. I'll have to pick up my phone here and pull up some reference photos just to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what it looks like most of the time. Yeah, I think they do have black noses. Also, hello again. Thank you for stopping by. I've seen some of your comments in the past, and I appreciate it. But yeah, I think they do have black noses. They usually have black paw pads too, don't they? I think they do. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. All right, I'm going to do some lighter blue here on the robe. Not that. I need to go through my paintbrushes again. I ruined half of them. Where's my other blue color? I think. Oh, there it is. I appreciate you stopping by. I'm trying to think if I know I've seen your comments before. I don't think you've been at a live video before, so that's cool. I'm used to rambling to myself, so. I did. Okay. I wasn't sure. I was trying to remember. Because I do recognize, like, I recognize the usernames of a couple people who comment off and on, and I try to remember who they are. Um, oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. Because it was, I think it was the one where I painted Willow. Yeah. Yeah, I love Willow. She's one of my favorite characters. Mm. Gradually adding texture as I keep lightening the paint. Although I may have to add a little bit more of the dark blue because I think too much of the base coat's showing through still. Do you have a favorite Don't Starve character? Or do you also like Willow? Hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think for me what drew me to it was the art style. Because it's very It's very cartoony, but almost kind of Tim Burton-esque. But yeah, I love playing it. I usually have like specific characters and strategies that I use, but it has been a bit time for me too, actually. Yeah, and it's been out for a while. They've added a lot since it started, but I love the art style mostly. The art style is a lot of fun. I really need to do Chester, the little live like mimic chest that hops behind you. I love him so much. He's so cute. Kind of see the detail that we're slowly adding to this. I don't actually know which one that one is. Um, Tim Burton. Yeah, for me, it's always like I look at him like something about this feels like Tim Burton, even though it's kind of different, but similar. What is you said Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. What is that from? I'm curious because I don't think I recognize it. Is it like a movie show reference to something specific? Game? Oh, okay, okay. I have seen Invader Zim art, so I kind of know what that is. Yeah. All right, so it's like a comic. Very cool. I don't think I've seen the one, but I have heard of Invader Zim. So yeah, I'm often drawn to various forms of media for no other reason than I just like the art style. I ended up playing what was another game? I ended up playing Cuphead, even though I really suck at platformers, just because I loved the art style. But yeah, there's something unique about the Don't Starve art style that I just really like. It's kind of quirky and kind of cute, but also slightly off and horrifying. It's a nice combo. I actually have the painting right across from me. I'm looking at it. I left it up here on my desk. I'm glad that actually shows up pretty well on the camera. You can kind of see the detail that we're adding very slowly. I feel like painting these sometimes is just an exercise in patience. Because every time I start on these, I'm like, it looks terrible. And then the more as I slowly add, it starts to come to life a bit. Yeah. I tried to do textures when I was making it, and you can't see it until I start painting. And then I'm like, oh, I did do cloth textures. That's right. So, that is something art has taught me is to be patient and that things will look really bad until they look good. Which sounds kind of silly, but it does help. I like things to look good immediately, and they never do. They always take time. No, actually, when I sculpted it, a lot of this is actually the texture of my hands. I didn't smooth it out. So I use softer clays, and if I ever want there to be a lot of texture in something, I just don't smooth it so that every impression of my fingers that kind of gets wrapped in there ends up creating a really cool texture. That doesn't work if you're using firmer clays like a lot of people use, but I tend towards softer clays because I don't have a lot of hand strength. And it works really well for stuff like this. And then if you dry brush, like I'm doing this, it lightly picks up every little bit of detail with minimal effort. So yeah, the only difficulty is if you want it to be really smooth, this type of clay, you have to take a really long time to smooth every single like bit out, or you'll end up with this texture just naturally. I have seen some pretty cool techniques, though. I do have texture rollers sometimes that I use, but I usually use those for more noticeable patterns, I think. And I've seen some people, I'm trying to think, there was something I did press it onto a piece of fabric to get a really deep texture on it. But yeah, no, with this, it's literally just the impressions of my own skin and fingers on it. Oop, I need to touch that up. I got a little bit of white. There we go. I'm currently debating about what to color the hood. I'm not sure. I had a couple images I was looking at, and some of them had the kitsunes like with the lighter color hoods and bluish or darker robes, but I haven't made up my mind yet. I was thinking maybe a beige or brown, but I don't know. Something Wicked. I don't think I have. Do they do sculpture or art or painting, or what do they do? Sculptures. Cool. I have a couple sculpture artists that I do follow who are really good. Um, Now that I've said that, I can't think of their names. Um, but there's a guy who has a ton of sculptures that I like to follow, and I can't remember his name. It's Jin something. Um, Hold on. I'm gonna look up because I'm trying to think. I sometimes I see sculpture like other sculpture artists and stuff, and I just don't remember their names, but I've seen their stuff. Oh, cool. Well, I've never seen this channel before, but just glancing over the thumbnails, this stuff's amazing. Very awesome. Very cursed, but very awesome. Nice. That's a cool channel. Sometimes I see the artists that do stuff like that, and I'm like, wow, they're so good at this. I still have a lot of things to learn and to improve. I'm gonna redo some of my childhood sculptures just to prove to myself that I have improved. I'm gonna redo some of them, but yeah, some people are insanely good at this. I'm kind of in between, kind of average-ish. So There, I think. Oh, I didn't get the underside of the arm. There we go. All right. But yeah, thank you for telling me about the channel. His stuff looks really cool. I love watching other people's artwork because it often inspires me, and I often learn more techniques by watching people. Because I was never really trained on how to do artwork. I just sort of watch people and then try to imitate things. But I love watching all sorts of artist videos to improve my own abilities because I learn a lot by mimicry. Do you have any favorite mythological creatures that you think I should do? I'm always asking people this because I like to know what people want to see. And if you don't, that's fine. But I'm actually doing the Kitsune because of suggestions. Do you have any favorite mythological creatures or cryptids? I know I'm particularly fond of one I did a while ago called the Baku. But there's so many cool ones that people always bring up ones I've never heard of before. And then I have fun stuff to read. I've got the light okay on the mask. I need to do the edges. There we go. A Junji Ito monster. Ooh, I could do something from Junji Ito. I do like his art style. That'd be quite a challenge too. Because I've imitated the drawing art style on my own, just practicing. That might be fun. I think I've not read Junji Ito, but I've done a lot of, I've interacted with a lot of media to take inspiration from his art style and his style of writing and horror and such. That would be fun. That's a good suggestion. I'll have to look up some of those. That'd be hard too, which is good because I've been trying to challenge myself. I will add that to my list. I think next I'm gonna do the hanging balloon. Let me look that up. I know some of the creatures because I really like. There's a game called World of Horror that is inspired by Junji Ito, and I love the art style and stuff in that game. Hanging balloon. Hanging balloon Junji Ito. Oh, okay, I see. I think I've seen images of that before. That is very disturbing. A lot of his because I've not read the stuff, but I've read so much Junji Ito adjacent stuff that I'm familiar with some of them. But that would be, yeah, that would be interesting because I tend to always do I always tend toward either really cutesy things or really horrifying. I'm not sure why. It's one or the other. This is kind of an in between, but I've been wanting to do something a bit more challenging. And I think that would definitely fall in that vein. Let's see, are the ears dry enough that I can paint them? Yes. Okay. White fox ears. I mean, I think I could actually do that one, maybe. But it would definitely be awkward, you're right, with like the way the shape works. You'd probably have to find some sort of suspension or a way to hang it so that it's not actually weighted. Granted, most of the sculptures I do are filled with aluminum foil, so they're actually not too heavy. But it's more a balance thing that would be an issue. Because like this sculpture is a frame of wire and aluminum foil with clay just over top. Let me see if I can clear off the eyes a little bit. There we go. You can see his eyes now. Looks better. Oh, cool. Yeah, representations of the seven deadly sins would be very awesome. Actually, it's funny because I have a coworker who loves Nightmare Before Christmas, so I have actually sculpted a weirdly enough a gingerbread version of Oogie Boogie, but he's fun to sculpt. There's something about him that's just fun. But yeah, he is a good representation, especially since he has like in the whole movie scene, he has the whole like gambling roulette wheel, doesn't he? So that fits well for Mammon. Clean off the fox jewel a little bit here. Okay. Let's see. I gotta pull up one of my photos here. Reference photos. Mask. Did you work with ceramic clays, or do you do like this is polymer oven bake, or did you have a different media? I'm hoping in the future to work in with ceramics, but I don't have a kiln yet. They're very expensive. Okay, yeah. So you're working with I actually right now I'm using Sculpey Type 3 or Sculpey Type 3 and Primo Sculpey are the two that I tend to use right now because they're decent clays but cheap enough. So yeah, it's a type of polymer clay. That's mostly what I do, just because it's more accessible, I think, for everyone. So all you need is an oven. Oh, I gotta do this upside down or I'm gonna do it wrong. But yeah, some of Sculpey's stuff is pretty good. You just have to get the decent brands, but my favorite is Fimo. I can never find it for cheap, so I never use it. I did that the wrong direction. It needs to angle down just a tad. There we go. Do you sculpt a lot, or was this like a while ago? A year ago. Okay, so not too long ago. That's cool. Yeah, sometimes I feel like maybe I should do step-by-step type tutorial stuff, but I'm never really sure if anybody is really interested in that. And I wouldn't know what to do anyway. And then most of the people who already sculpt already know how to sculpt and wouldn't need it anyhow. So it's like, I'm never sure how many people are interested in sculpting. Yeah. That's cool. I'm always happy when I meet more people who like the art form that I like. Eyebrows. There we go. The mask now has eyebrows. Although it's kind of reflective in that camera light. A little bit. Alright, new brush. And where is my red paint? I think I'm actually almost out of red. That's not good. Red and pink. Yep. I'm trying to do the mask somewhat feminine because I read a bunch of the Kitsune legends where they turn into women. So, kind of going that route. If I can pull this off. Here we see. Where's my photo? Okay. And I need more red paint. I had to order green paint the other day because I ran out again. But I have such a hard time with red paints because half of the time They aren't true reds. They're like, the camera light's really messing with this. They aren't true reds, they're actually like a pink color, and then they'll be marketed as red, and then when you actually get them, it's like, well, this isn't an actual red, it's like an off red. For some reason, red pigments are hard to find. Yeah, some of them are. I went over a whole bunch of them. There's both good and bad kitsunes. There's like the ones that are messengers and associated with the god Inari. And then there's the bad shapeshifters that like steal people's money, become people's wives, and seduce people and that kind of thing. And like before you got here, I was reading, at least I think it was before, I was reading through one of the legends of one of the trickster kitsunes trying to convince a hunter to stop trapping foxes. They're not all negative. It's a fun mix. It's a mix of good and bad. But I just loved all of the old, there's a bunch of old art with the kitsunes in human clothing, and I really liked that, so that's why I did this. Oh, don't do that. It's funny because most of the legends, they also kind of reminded me, because I'm very fond of Celtic mythology as well. They reminded me so much of the various, like, fae from Celtic mythology, where there may be tricksters, sometimes they're neutral, sometimes they're good, but yeah. I mean, there's so many, like, you mean like the old, illuminated, like, textbooks or texts and stuff where they have the old medieval drawings in the sides of them? I do love a lot of those. They're very fun to look through. It's a very specific style. I don't think I've ever drawn bugs before. I'm a little scared of bugs. Yeah, that's what I figured this time. I love looking through the old illuminated texts, and there'll be the strangest little sketches in the corner, and you're like, why did they draw that? One I've seen a lot is like rabbits doing human jobs. There'll be just like rabbits churning butter for some reason, and I'm like, I wonder why. Oh, are we back? I think we're back. I don't know why that happened. Yeah, the snail's defeating a knight. I lost connection and then it came right back. Okay, cool. We're back. Okay. Yeah, I think there's also ones I've seen of snails riding, or knights riding snails, which that would be a really fun sculpture, actually. It'd be really funny. Yeah, it cut off for a second for me, and I was like, oh no, I lost connection, but it came right back. So hopefully it doesn't die on me. Oh, we're back again. I don't know why it is disconnecting on me. That is really weird. I don't think I've seen those. A knight riding a hippopotamus sounds hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. The video for some reason wants to keep lagging on me. I'm not sure what's going on. I feel like somebody could do a whole series on just the weird illustrations on the side of manuscripts. I think it just proves we've always been a little bit silly. That is true. They're really powerful, yeah. Hippos are I know people draw them so cute and innocent, but they're pretty dangerous if they wish to be. I don't know how fast they move though, but hey, they can swim in water too, so you could go across water really easy as well. It would be a very odd looking, like, group of knights that all rode on hippos, but it would be kind of terrifying, honestly. The hippo cavalry. Or cavalry. Cavalry. That's the wrong word. Cavalry, not cavalry. Cavalry. Okay. Let me... I guess I could have used the same one. I need a small brush. Nose. White foxes. Okay. Am I connected back on your end okay? It looks like I popped back up normal here, but it keeps doing that. Okay, good. Thank you. So I can always tell if, like, I reconnect, but sometimes it doesn't translate well to whoever's watching. Do a little bit of black around the mouth. The side of the nose. I feel like that would be a really funny D&D group too if you did a bunch of knights that rode on hippos. They're not terribly fast though, I don't think. So it'd be a little slow. Here we go. Are they? I've never actually looked at how fast hippos are. Really? I didn't know that. I guess they are very powerful and muscular. Do you happen to know how fast they can run? Okay. I was just curious because, like, I would have thought they were, I had it in my head that they were very slow, but I guess I'm just thinking of, like, cartoon stereotypes. Um, I wonder, I'll have to look this up now. How fast are hippos? I mean, they are very muscular, so I guess they would be very powerful and very fast. How fast? I need to know now. How fast are hippos? Oh, yeah. 19 to 30 miles an hour, 30 to 48 kilometers an hour. Hold on. Horses are... Okay, so they're about equivalent to horses. They're very similar to horses in speed. But that's still pretty fast. I did not think they were that fast. That is kind of terrifying because they're so bulky. I think if something like charged at you at that size, you'd just be horrified. Well, yeah, they are comparable to horses in speed. Did not know that. Yep. Yep. I may have to update OBS because my internet I don't think is dropping, but it keeps dropping. Oh well, I'm gonna have to worry about that after I do this video. I have never had it drop that many times and reconnect. That is so weird. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, as you can probably tell, I'm not very good with the marketing side of things. So I greatly appreciate any help in that regard. If you think somebody likes my stuff, that'd be awesome. And it's always nice when people show up on the live stuff and I have somebody to chat with while I'm working. That's always fun. So, yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm doing my best to grow the channel, but I'm not very good at that. I've been posting lots of shorts and videos, but they don't always seem to help. Sometimes they do. I kind of want to sculpt either a knight on a snail or a knight on a hippo now. Just because. It would be very funny. And kind of cool, but also just funny. Or I could actually find some of the old manuscript illustrations and then just pull them at random and sculpt whatever they are. There's some really weird ones. Okay, I'm gonna do the inside of the hood without destroying any of the face. Almost done with this side. Can't get any brown on the white. Okay. This is actually looking decent now. I'm at the point where it begins to look the way I want it to. There we go. So the hood, we got the base coat on the hood now. Dark brown. I think that highlights the lightness of the face better too. And now I can add some lighter brown to bring out the texture. And then I need to go through and do a little detail around this fox jewel in the tail, the little pearl that I have here. And then I gotta do the paw pad still too. Okay. Oh, and the leaf. I almost totally forgot I got to do the leaf. I think I need to make a working list of everything I intend to do for next videos. That way at least I can post it and people can see what they might be interested in watching for the live stuff at least. I think that might help. I've been thinking about doing that. Because I know I plan on doing an SCP next. Because I got a couple good suggestions on those, but... What? Okay, we're still connected. Okay, we're still... Internet has not dropped again. We're good. Okay. Okay. Add more highlights. I haven't actually decided yet. I got a couple suggestions. I think the main one was the play. The one that's the cursed play, The Hanged King, I believe. Someone suggested I could do that, and I have to read over it in more detail. And then someone mentioned the Ticket to Ride train one, which I don't remember who suggested that. That was on YouTube. So I'm looking at each of those because those are going to be more like involved scenes where I might have multiple things in a scene, so they're going to take a little longer to make, but I'm leaning toward those. However, if you know ones that you like, you can also give me suggestions because so far I've only gotten like 2 suggestions. So I'm always looking for new ones to add to my list. I've done a couple in the past, but SCPs are kind of fun, so. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head for the Hanged King and the train, the cursed train ticket. I think I'm leaning toward the Hanged King. I just need to take a little time to read over it before I decide. the highlights on the hood. All right, we gotta do the front now, and then we'll do the leaf after this. I also have some just silly ideas that I want to do. Like, I keep having this image of a cowboy centaur in my head, and I don't know why, but I really want to make it. It's not from anything in particular, it's just, it would be funny if I sculpted that. I try to do stuff that people recognize, because those videos tend to do better. But every once in a while, I like to just do something random. For no reason. Almost done with the hood. I'll highlight the edges a little more. Alright, now we gotta paint the leaf. And I guess I could go ahead and do the paw pad real quick here that's on the foot that's visible. Before my paintbrush that I was using in the black dries out. There we go. And then I have to do the toes of this one. I was trying to do like a hybrid between a human foot and a fox. So, there we go. Okay. Now we do the leaf. It's my new dark green. I'm paranoid now. I keep looking at my internet connection like it's not gonna die, is it? It's still up. One, two. Oh, and we're back again. That is so weird. It goes to like full green bars and then randomly drops for 2 seconds and then comes back. What is going on? Back? Back? Yes, okay, we're back. I think we're back. Okay, we're almost done. I need to speed finish this before the internet dies. I think it's... Okay, it's still up. Good. Alright, so we have the hood. I gotta do more details on the leaf, but I have to let it dry a little bit first. So I think I'm gonna paint the edge of the robe here. I'm gonna do a light beige color for that. Then I'm gonna do a couple details on the tail and I'll be finished. And hopefully the internet will hold out until then. If not, I do record all of these too, since YouTube sometimes destroys my live videos. Okay, almost there. Yep, you could see the detail a little bit. All right. Now we gotta add some green to the leaf. Particularly around the edges. Okay, that is done. All right, so I think I am going to use the red on the fur around the foxtrot. And I think after that we'll be pretty much done with this one. And then hopefully I can figure out why my internet has decided to die every couple minutes and then reconnect just fine. My old service used to do that all the time, but I've never had this new one do it. See the little details here. Okay, and then I'll tone it down with a little bit of pink here real quick. Kind of blend it a tad into the white. We have the red around the fox jewel and the tail. Kind of like the face being pure white, though. I don't think I want to add the red lines to it. I could do a little bit. I think I'll do. Let me see. I think I'll do like a line under the eyes and that's it for the red on the face just to tie it into the tail. But not more than that. I think that'll be subtle enough. There you go, you can see little red lines. I don't want to do too much because I couldn't find too much precedent in the old art for it, but just a little line here. Just do it a little bit since a lot of the modern art uses this. And then it justifies my use of red around the fox jewel. Okay. Okay, I need to touch up a spot of white there, and then I think I am done. This needs to not be... There we go. And then I need to lighten up the leaf a tad more. Show more variance. There we go. That made the leaf look a little better. All right. Let's clean up the jewel in the eye a little better. And then I think we're done. Clean all of the paint off of this. There we go. All right. So we are finished with our Kitsune. See the three-tailed. I was tempted to do maybe a nine-tailed one, but I'm still worried that the tails would end up looking a bit like a peacock, you know, with all of the different pieces. So we did one inspired by all the old, like, woodblock and wood print versions of kitsunes dressed as people. You have the mask to hint at the shape-shifting. The leaf to reference the some of the mythology that said they had to have a leaf or a reed or something on their head as part of the shape-shifting ritual. We have the fox jewel in the tail to reference that. And then we did the slight red because most of the modern portrayals like to have red lines on the kitsune. And I think that's a reference to the Inari shrines. But yeah, I think we're finished. I don't know if, I think Operator Creation, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you so much for hanging out with me. Sorry the internet died like 6 times and then came back. But thanks for hanging out with me and chatting with me. And to anyone who sees this later, if you like artwork like this, if you like mythology, cryptids, I do all sorts of stuff. You can comment, suggest things that you would like to see me do. And I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful night. And I need to finish this up before my internet shuts off on me again. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone has a lovely night.